Alright, what's up guys? It's ZackAttack. It's 12:49 a.m. on I believe it's still Thursday. I don't think it's Friday yet. No, it's gonna be Friday at 1. So I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. You guys probably saw the title and you're probably wondering, yo, what the fuck is this and why can't you say this on the new Huniepop video? Speaking of which, guys, some of you guys might be returning from my old channel, which was ZackAttack's Yeah Brah. Things happened. I decided to end that channel, and I've cleaned some shit up. So I'm good to go on this channel. So I brought back some of the old videos, not all of them, because that was going to be a hell of a lot of work, and I don't really need that. But, the title of the video is Secret Crush on Huniepop. You guys are probably thinking, what the fuck, man? And I'm going to try to speed this up as much as possible. But since I like to talk a lot, that's probably not going to happen. So let's just roll with this. So, I discovered the game Huniepop from Nate Wants to Battle. I'm going to give him the full credit, little plug-in. I honestly didn't know anything about the game. I saw him playing it. I was like, man, this seems pretty fun. So I ended up getting it along with Geometry Dash, and that's another thing for another time. But yeah, I started playing it, and my whole goal was just doing well with Nikki because I was like, huh, she's into video games, she's got blue hair, and she hates her job. And at this time, I can't talk. I was working at Walmart around this time, so I totally get it because I understood it because I absolutely hated that place. That's another thing I can do a podcast about. So, so Hampton, if you're watching this channel, we're gonna have to find a way of talking about this together at some point. But yeah. Anyways, moving on. So I was really into her, and I was trying to do well because I thought I felt a connection. Now, I encountered the other characters. So let's talk about the other characters that I met. So we got Nikki. We had Aiko, who was a teacher, and she was Asian. We had. Well, no, we didn't have her yet. Let's go with what we had then. So we had Aiko, we had Nikki, we had Jessie, who was a porn star. Go figure. We had Belly, who was kind of a spiritualist kind of chick. Then we had, damn, I forgot her name. Yeah, I forgot her name, but she was we had the gymnast chick. We had Tiffany, who was the cheerleader, and then we ended up finding out later that she was Jesse's daughter, so that got a bit weird. And then we met. I'm sorry, it's like really late, guys, and I really don't have all the characters on me right now, but we had another character that I wasn't really into. So the whole thing is I was trying to do well with Nikki because I felt like I had a connection with her. So on episode 3, it's not on this channel, I'm sorry about that, but episode 3, I put up a straw poll for you guys to vote on who you wanted me to go on a date with. And 2 votes were for Nikki. My fan base wasn't big. I'm trying to build it back up. But, she ended up winning. So I was like, ah, cool. It's another shot for me to try to get this date, you know. And it did. The date didn't go well at all, at all, and I was really disappointed. But then I thought, you know what? Let me go on a date with someone else. Maybe that'll get my thing to improve. So I chose Aiko. I really didn't give it any thought. I was like, let's go with her. And the date was amazing. It really was. So I've been watching these old footages, and I honestly think, without me realizing it, I was always into Aiko. Now on my dates with Nikki, because I was trying really, really hard to nail them, I was nervous, I got stressed, and most of the time it didn't work. With Aiko, it was free flowing, it was natural, I was calm, and I knocked the dates out of the park. So that should kind of explain it, but let me get you guys in depth a little more. Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say. But my theory is, and I finally figured this out, and yeah, Alex, all right, let me get back on track. My point is, I have always been into Aiko without even realizing it. I had a thing for Aiko and didn't realize it. Now, looking back at the footage I had, I kind of understand why. Because, she's got this whole persona where, she's a teacher, so she's got to be, she's got to be professional. But once you get her alone, she is crazy and she doesn't give a fuck. While Nikki, on the other hand, she's, she hates her job, she's really shy, and I thought it was kind of cute. But some of you guys who know me pretty well, at the jobs I had, I'd try to be as professional as possible, but once you get alone with me, or once I hang out with you, you get the real me, and I am weird. Straight up, I'm weird, and I don't care, because that's who I am. And I've always prided myself on being true to who I am. I don't try to be anyone else, and I have a lot more fun because of that. Now, people will, they'll say shit about me, and it'll put me down sometimes, especially, if it's someone that I'm trying to hang out with, or, if there's a cute girl and she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not into you, it'll put me down a bit, but then I'll bounce right back once I hang around with my peeps, my creatures, whatever we're called at that time. So my thing is, Aiko matches my personality. Once you get to know her really well, she stops giving a fuck and she'll do whatever she wants. So with Nikki, and I finally figured it out after whatever number it was. I don't know. Actually, I figured this out during Geometry Dash, of all places. I hate that game. But anyways, I figured it out, and I noticed that the more time I spent with her, the more and more of a downer she became. Like, the first video I went on a date with her, she's like, okay, this is gonna be cool. And then video number I think it was 15. It was I don't remember what number because I made so many Huniepop videos, but it was when we first, got to meet Momo. She was like, "Well, try to have fun, I guess." And I was like, "Well, damn. Am I like going to like a funeral or some shit like that?" And that's kind of when it clicked for me. I was like, "You know what? If I was actually dating someone like this, I would have dumped their ass because if my mood depends on who I'm hanging out with. So if I end up, dating someone, I'd actually at this one I'd take whoever. But if I finally, figured out who I was into, if I was dating someone who's always a downer all the time, it'd be miserable. Because I mean, who wants to hang out with someone who is always down in the dumps all the time? I wouldn't tolerate that shit. I'd be like, hey, lighten up, or I'm gonna have to find someone else. So, Nick, I try. This always happens to me too. I always try to impress someone, and then it finally clicks on me that I always like someone else. But then at that point, it's too late. With this, it's just a game, so it's not too late. Actually, Ayako was the second person I slept with, so yeah. But it's a game. But in real life, when I finally figure that shit out, I'm like, oh shit, well, it's too late now. So, so yeah, my whole point of this whole video, I've gone on for a while, is that I've always been into Ayako, and I just want you guys to know, if you haven't already figured out, that Ayako is my favorite because she's the one that I have always clicked with without even realizing it. So let me list off the people I like and why. So Ayako, that's what this whole video is about. With Jessie, well, I mean, I kind of like. Okay, she Jessie is kind of hard to describe because, yeah, she's a porn star, but there's more to her than that. She's a mother. Probably shouldn't use that example. Okay, you know what? let's just let's just skip that because I can't come up with a good answer. But she's on my list. Let's see. Uh, actually, you know what, guys? You know what? I'm like really tired. I've got to go to bed so I can do my chores, so I can go to Hot Topic. So I will leave you guys with this. I will be doing another Huniepop video, a new one. All the old ones have already been uploaded. They're done. I can focus on new material. So I will have a surprise for that one. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. If not, I'll tell you guys what I want to do because I usually do that anyways. But I will hopefully have a surprise for that video. And my game plan for that, because no one really pays attention to these podcasts anyways, so my game plan for the video, since I have one more date with Momo before, I have one more date before we end up sleeping with each other. I'm gonna have sex with a cat because that's not weird. But I really, really, really don't want to do that soon. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna try to go on a date with Celeste, the alien, and that if I make the date really, really good, then Celeste and Momo will end up being tied. So at that point, I will have you guys decide who I close it out with first. So I don't know if I'm going to do a poll. I don't know if I'm going to end up just doing whatever. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But yeah, that's my game plan. So to wrap this whole video up, I've always, been into Aiko without realizing it. And I'm having a new video tomorrow, and I'll have a surprise, hopefully. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will figure out some more topics to do some podcasts about, because I can do this because it's easy. So if you guys are like jonesing for some new videos, this will be up, and I can talk about whatever at any given time. And hey, I can even bring some friends on here if I need to. We'll just need to do the Google Hangout gimmick, but hey, it'll be worth it. So yeah, rock out and scream, cuckoo, bye.